Welcome to Slash Forward. In this video, we're going to take a look at John Carpenter's The Thing. Let's get to it. The movie opens in Antarctica in 1982. We join up with a helicopter chasing a dog across the tundra. He stops momentarily to see if he's earned a treat, but gets shot at instead, so he continues on his way. We see they're heading toward a nearby station, the occupants of which are commenced in a variety of casual activities. Roused by the sounds and excitement, the chaps run out to observe. However, things pop off quickly with grenades and incidental shootings. Basically bored, partially drunk guy stuff, which is all fun and games until someone gets shot through the eye. With both Norwegians now gone, they're left with a confusing mess and a new dog. Inside, we find that they've been unable to raise anyone on the radio for a while. In order to get a better idea of what's going on, MacReady and Doc fly to the Norwegian outpost. Back at the station, things are mostly back to normal, but better since their +1 fuzzy new friend. Here he is seeking out comfort from one of his co-evolutionary partners. Meanwhile, the whirlybird lands and they find the burnt-out husk of the Norwegian outpost, with evidence of little more than unspeakable horrors. A suicide frozen in time, black and white videotapes, an ice tub, this thing.
Is that a man in there?
Yeah, you're the doctor. They get back and unload their booty, and everyone agrees that it's pretty bitchin'. Blair begins an autopsy, confirming a normal set of internal organs, in opposition to the exterior. Once again, things begin to get back to normal that evening, but with some added tension. Bennings gets goosed by the dog and implores Clark to put it with the others. He does, and being a good boy, the dog immediately engages in normal dog-like behavior. When he fails to hit it off with his new kennel mates, he makes them a flower, aww, and then squirts them with goo. Clark checks on the commotion and manages to get the door locked. MacReady hits the alarm. They all gather at the pen and observe while Childs retrieves the flamethrower, which is good because the guns do nothing. But luckily, the cleansing heat of the flames make this abomination of nature all better. The next morning starts with Blair making a wish, and then he gets elbows deep into another autopsy. He surmises that the organism appears to absorb and replicate other creatures. Given this, he's disturbed to find that the dog had free reign of the facility the prior day. Meanwhile, the video reveals the Norwegians had been tooling around at a location northeast of their camp with thermite explosives. MacReady and others go immediately and find a long-buried ship. When they get back, they bring everyone up to speed and then start working on a possible solution to their problem. They start by moving the specimen to the storage room. Windows gets the keys to lock up and walks in on the alien getting intimate with Bennings. They surround him and enjoy his sweet serenade, and then burn him down to nothing, along with the other contaminated materials. After marshmallows, MacReady sees Blair scamper off. The little scoundrel's been having a blast vandalizing the rotocopter. He follows him in to find out he's been going absolutely nuts on the radio equipment. They converge on him after he empties his gun, and old Wilford still gives them the business, but they do ultimately subdue him. Afterward, they lock him up in the tool shed. They discuss the possibility of doing a comparative blood test, but come to find that the blood has been spilt. This leads to a rousing game of Mafia, and, as always happens, one person gets emotionally destroyed. In this case, it's Windows who runs off to get a gun, which is an irrational response to most slumber party games. They begin to consider a new test when it's noted that Fuchs has been absent for an unknown amount of time. They split up to find him, but only find his burned remains. MacReady and Knowles go to check his cabin since the lights are now on. At first, only Knowles comes back, and he implicates MacReady as a thing. Before they each get a chance to express how this makes them feel, MacReady breaks into the supply room where he acquires some dynamite for safety purposes. Again, the confusion is interrupted when Norris has a heart attack. The doc gets to work while MacReady does his best to keep everyone close, but not close enough for them to grab him, and tries to monitor the situation when Doc loses his forearms inside Norris's tummy like an absolute mad lad. From that point, everything is just yelling, heat, and flaming viscera, and it ends with a head spider trying to nonchalantly skitter out of the room. MacReady is now ready to unveil his new plan, which involves binding the crew. They still don't trust him fully, but when Clark makes a move, it demonstrates why they have no choice. Their recent experience gave MacReady the notion that blood from a thing will react to a threat, so they don't need a comparison sample. They all become blood brothers, and then MacReady starts testing the samples. They work their way down the line with the crew incredulous that he's proving anything, until they get to Palmer. Yeah, that pretty well proves it. MacReady fully manages the situation and takes a pragmatic approach to what remains of Windows. The rest of the group is cleared, except Blair. When they go out to visit, they find the door open and Blair missing. There's a cavity in the floor that leads to an underground workshop where Blair appears to have spent his abundant free time assembling a kit spaceship. They see Childs run out before the generator turns off. Surmising that the organism wants to go to sleep in the ice until it gets another chance, they decide to fire it up. They systematically work through the outposts, throwing Molotov cocktails and blasting off explosives. In the generator room, and despite all of their prior experiences, they split up, resulting in the disappearance of Gary and Knowles. The Blair thing shows up to give a how-do, and MacReady explodes him real good. He's then met by Childs, and the two of them relax in each other's company, not fully trusting the other, but mutually agreeing to chill out and see if something happens. And that was the original The Thing. Released in 1982, it didn't get popular until much later, which boggles the mind considering its effective balance of gross-out special effects, atmosphere, and tension. I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.